Hello again, chaps and chapettes, how are we all doing? It is lovely to see you all again. As always, we've had a number of protests up and down the country today, my friends, against the waifs and the strays that are floating over from France, like some kind of unwanted sea debris that no one wants. While I'm happy to see local people taking to the streets to keep members of their community safe, I do feel some within these crowds have their priorities somewhat skew with, and their overall knowledge of immigration into this country as a whole is way off the mark. It seems most of this misinformation is coming from the boomers within these crowds, your nanas and your granddads, that kind of a thing. A recent poll by YouGov asked around 10,000 people just how many arrivals in this country we see a year via legal channels. The top result was 70,000, miles off the actual number. But we'll get back to that in just a few short moments, my friends. A grandmother called Millie has spoken out at a demonstration outside a migrant accommodation facility in Aldershot, articulating her worries about unauthorised boat arrivals via the English Channel. She attended the gathering to voice her support for lawful immigration, while expressing opposition to what she described as irregular crossings happening day in and day out. I've come here because we're just a small island, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm all for legal migration, but not the ones coming across the channel day in, day out, Millie told GB News during a demonstration. This is exactly where the problem lies, guys. Legal migration dwarfs what is floating over from France tenfold. Legal migration is the main culprit for the debilitating changes we have seen to our demographic over the last 28 odd years. Legal migration is why we have Bengali signposts in London. Legal migration is why most big cities and towns have halal butchers and takeaways lining our streets. Legal migration is why we see ninjas walking the streets on a daily basis. Legal migration is why we see countless horrible-looking mosques polluting our otherwise beautiful views. Legal migration is why you get tourists visiting here asking where all the English people are. Illegal migration brings in sexual deviance, that is for fucking sure. Yet I have to argue it's legal migration that is the most destructive and has the long-lasting impression on the whole country. Some of these people need to realise this, and fast. She goes on. We've got veterans that are homeless and our own homeless, Millie noted, suggesting that these groups should receive priority assistance over those arriving through irregular routes. Millie responded forcefully when questioned about accusations of holding extremist views, describing such characterizations as deeply offensive. I find it extremely insulting. We're decent people, she declared, rejecting any association with far-right ideology. The grandmother revealed her family's historical opposition to fascism, stating, to be classed as a Nazi, my grandfather fought the fascists in the Somme. She emphasised that she had travelled to the demonstration independently, describing herself as a frightened grandmother who felt compelled to voice her concerns. Don't worry or take any kind of offence to what the left-wing tosspots call you. Are you really going to walk around all day with a grey cloud over your head because some woman who resembles Stigger the Dump calls you a racist? Or a man that is missing a few chromosomes calls you a Nazi? No. Are you fuck? These people are insignificant when it comes to the wider public opinion. They call you these names to try and demoralise you and get under your skin. Maybe it worked 10, 15 years ago. Now it's water off a duck's back for most people. But for those who are newly joining our cause, I can imagine it will sting a little bit. Take no notice, hold your flags up higher, laugh in their faces, and then tell them to go and get fucked. Easy. That's my video, my friends. Carpe diem as always. Do let me know what you think in the comments, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers.